mining. Of course, to craft in Factorio, you're going to need raw resources. And we gain those raw resources by mining, chopping down trees, using oil jacks to bring up oil. But basically, I'm going to talk about mining right now. So if we hit our M key and bring open our map, we can see that there's all sorts of different resources spread around this map. If I go up to the top here, it tells me when I mouse over it that I have some iron ore, and that's blue. And it tells me there's 465,000 of those available. The orange color is your copper ore. The nice bright glowing nuclear green is this uranium ore. Sandy brown is stone. Small pink squares are your oil. And the black is the coal, which makes sense. So if I hit M key again to come down in, I actually can see this at a more detailed level by actually spanning over top of the resource. And as I do that, I actually get a little bit more information about it, mining time, how hard it is, etc., etc. I don't find I use that too much other than when I'm trying to figure out if I've depleted the resource, because as you mine this out, eventually it will disappear because there's an amount, and once it gets to 0, it will disappear, and of course your miner will be ineffective. Okay, there are a couple of miners available for you. You have a burner mining drill, which is what you start with in the beginning of the game, and it has a footprint of 2 by 2. You can see that over top of our concrete here. And if I hit R, I can actually rotate that around, and that basically is telling me what the output is. And you'll notice that it's red because I can't mine the concrete, but I can, if I mouse over the coal, actually do it. So it basically has a little bit of start. So if you're trying to get to the edge of something and you just want to mine a little corner of it, you can actually do that. I don't know why you would, but typically you want to try to mine as much as possible because you're trying to get as, we're greedy. We like to pull as much mining as we can. So if I left click that, I can actually place that down. And the first thing we notice right away is it says you need some fuel. Well, basically everything in the game requires some sort of fuel other than your transport belts. And we look at it, and it basically says, give me some fuel, and then I will give you some coal, because this is sitting on top of coal, and if I was sitting on something else, it would tell me what else it's going to produce. So I have some coal in my bag, and I'm going to drop that in here. And it's coming along, and it's basically going along speed. Do not worry about the pink line right at the moment. That's more a later game, so we'll not worry about that. But what you'll notice right now is I burnt off a little bit of my coal here, but it stopped. And the reason why it stopped is because my coal has no place to go. So even when we lay down our electrical mining burner here, it has the same issue. It has an output, and if we lay that down, you need a place for your stuff to go. Now, typically what you do is you try to get a transport line off of here, but right now we're just going to drop a little box so that can keep working away. And so, of course, it's going to just keep sitting there until it burns through this full 32. And so basically, with this box, I'd probably get, 150 or so likely out of there. Maybe a little bit more, a little bit less. I don't worry about it too much. You start to get a feel for it in the game. Yeah, so I don't have electricity hooked up for this right now, but we'll note when we bring up the electrical drill, it has a much bigger footprint. It's a 5 by 5. Now, you have different things that you can do with that footprint. You can actually use it to spread your drills out, which allows you to increase the amount of time it takes you to mine out that massive thing. So when we look back at our map, I have this great big thing, and if I had mining drills across this whole resource, if I was to spread them so that they weren't touching, and actually let's just grab another one here, I'll just pop in and grab another one. I could actually use the footprint, because I know the footprint of this one is 1 extra square. I could actually spread these out. If I do that, what it'll do is it'll take a lot longer for me to mine this whole block of coal, but it won't get me as material as fast. So it depends on whether you're trying to actually really feed your system really quickly, whether you stack those side by side, or whether you spread them out like I have here. Of course, you see that they're both saying they need a fuel, and their fuel is electricity. We'll talk about electricity in a little bit, so we won't touch upon that right now, and I'm not going to start those up. But basically, they work exactly the same, just have a bigger footprint, just require electricity. They are more efficient. I highly recommend that you get away from the burner mining drills as quickly as possible. They do have their benefits. They're great for mining little outcrops if you're just trying to, throw a little something into a bag, and you can, or just back into your line. They're great for getting little chunks. I use them occasionally, just even when I'm in later games, just to quickly get rid of some stuff. If you don't want to run power to it or whatever, and you just want to dump some coal in it, just leave it alone and come back and pick it up, you can do that. You know, I've built railway sidings before with these just feeding into cars and then picked up the cars later. Yeah, so that's it basically for mining. It's quite simple. You know, it's kind of intuitive. I can spin these mining resources. I can set up my lines against them. There's all sorts of things you can do, and we'll get into that a little bit later as well. So hopefully that segment was useful for you. If it was, please leave a like, leave your comments below. If I've made any errors, please let me know, and I will update the video. Thank you for watching, and please continue on with the series.